All right, it's June the 25th, and I'm about a week late for a garden walkthrough. We're going to take a look real quick today and just look at everything. Not informal, just maybe an interesting, I don't know. Just looking at the plants. We're looking at the Cherokee purple black beans, and they look rough. I haven't done any. I haven't really trained them up the fence, and they just fell over, and they're not got a lot of water, and they just look awful as far as that goes. They go all the way down, and all the way down the fence, all the way down there to the gate, and right here we've got our jalapeno patch. Now, because here where I live in Arkansas, 2.5 weeks ago, it was still 50 degrees at night. So we have 2 weeks of kind of growth for real hot weather plants like jalapenos and peppers and even okra. But nevertheless, these were purchased at the store. They got jalapenos on them in there. They were purchased at the store. Somebody gave them. The rest of these are seeds, but that's why you see that they're not grown very much. And anyway, so let's go on down. We're looking at the okra, and okra's looking real good. It's about 5 weeks old now, 5.5 weeks old, and I've pruned it twice. I've got the back 2 rows over here pruned one way, and down here I'm pruning it a whole different way because there's a couple of ways you can grow okra. I don't know if you can tell, but right here on this end, I've pruned it different from the rest, and I'll talk about that later in another video I'm trying to make on okra. Anyway, let's go on down. Yeah, over here we got the, let's see here, purple whole peas down this back aisle, and they don't get a lot of water either. And I'm having to blight with them real bad, everything. I'm having to work on blight. I mean, look at this blight. You see what I'm talking about? See on that leaf? Dead, that's blight that got on that plant. And they don't get on purple whole peas very easy. Blight don't. It loves potatoes. Look at that blight on the potatoes. I got in there and cleaned it all off yesterday. Still dead. Supposed yeah, this is the purple whole peas. Look at my greens here. They're not real old, but you see that they're seeding. That's because it's been nice. It's supposed to be 110 degrees Fahrenheit here today. It was 95 degrees yesterday Fahrenheit. But anyway, purple whole peas coming on down here, and you can see where I've just done a number on these potatoes. I got all kind of potatoes in here though. We got our gourds that's going up the fence here. Yeah, there's the gourds, and this was just a voluntary plant that came up on its own here, and you see his little gourds in there. He's got a couple. They are Martin houses. And then this gourd here and that gourd over there are long neck dipper gourds. But since it don't get no water here on the side of this hill, it hasn't rained in so long. We got about a foot down. It's just dry. The ground's dry and it's hot. And right here we got the voluntary watermelons. Just came up here. I left them right where they're at. And look at this. Oh man, there's watermelons in there. Look at that big old watermelon growing up there. He ain't real big, but he's big compared to the rest of them. And then here's our voluntary transfer plants for peppers that I transferred. They're looking good. They don't get a lot of water either. You can tell right here where it curves down, the plant gets bigger. That's water. I don't know what they are yet. They look like chili peppers to me, but I don't know. Yeah, well, that might be a bell pepper. Shoot, I can't tell yet. Look at this. Jalapeno? I don't know. Look, it looks funny. I don't know what he is. Not yet. If he was long, he really ain't really resembling a chili. And this here is like a bell pepper. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, and here's the cucumbers. And again, they're hot weather plants and just starting to go because of our temperatures here. And they've got blight all over them. And I've been picking it off, but you see the spots on the leaves. Yeah, they got blight all over it. Just starting to fruit, just starting to put out cucumbers, but they haven't done well because of the blight. I have to keep them trimmed all the way up. And there's the blight. Now here's the watermelon patch I transferred from the field out here. 2 or 3 of them died, but they wound up, they're living. I'm worried about them crossbreeding though with my cucumbers there. And here's Mr. Melly. Mr. Melly, hey, tell him hi. Anyway, all right, so okay, now right here is the surprise bucket. I pulled everything out and transplanted it into the yard. I'll try to mention it if I see something. But look at the bell peppers on here. Turned out to be a lot of bell peppers that in here. No jalapenos or nothing. We're looking at just bell peppers here. Looking at just bell peppers in there. And I've already picked some off, took them in and ate them. Look at that. Oh, shit. Whoops. There we go. Oops. Well, and here we got our pumpkins that are just now starting to take off. We're going to run them up this fence here, this trellis. And they're just starting to take off. Okay. And here's this year's new mulch bucket. Got a bunch of turnips in it right now, but that's how the other mulch bucket created all those plants. Okay. All right. And let's walk back down the potatoes. And you see that I went through them yesterday, and I tried to get the blight off of them and cover the potatoes up. They was growing out of the ground. They look all right, but it's at 95 and 110 today. These potatoes are dying, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna live through this. I might can give some water to them and get the potatoes to get a little bigger, but they won't flower. They won't produce any more potatoes after it gets hot. Won't produce any more flowers. All right, let's walk over here and look at this. Look at this plant. Sunflower. He's a volunteer too. He just growed there. He's volunteer. What's going down here? Let's see. He's volunteer. This pumpkin that's just growing out from there is volunteer. And these 2 pumpkins down here on this end that are growing, this is 2 different plants. And you'll see the pumpkins in there. See the pumpkin in there on him? These 2 plants came out of the surprise mulch bucket, you know. Let's go ahead and look at these squash while we're here. These are squash, and they're about 4.5 weeks old or so, and they're putting out squash. You'll see them in there. Let's see if we can get over in there. See them squash in there? And you see yellow in the leaves and things, and that's because it's so hot. Yeah, at 110, you know, my ground's the roots are getting real hot, and it causes all my tomato leaves to curl. The reason why I have curling on my tomato plant leaves is because the ground's getting about 108 degrees at the roots, about a foot down. Look at this temperature, 108 degrees, 3-4 inches down. Makes all the plants leaves curl. Yellow, you'll see that yellow on these. And they're not getting enough water. It's too hot, you know. And these are zucchinis here on this end. Zucchinis, plants. And even them, you can see the leaves kind of curling up. See them? Yeah, the blight will also cause that. And here's the tomato patch. Let's get an overshot here. Walking down here showing you. Look at them tomatoes in there. Yeah, these are volunteer, and everybody told me, they said, well, volunteer tomatoes will just produce cherry tomatoes. They won't come back. But, well, I normally only grow heirlooms, so I don't know if that's the case. I think they're wrong. You know, they're assuming I'm going to Walmart and buying a plant and putting it in the ground, but I'm not. My last year's, over half my garden was nothing but suckers transferred from other plants. But the original were heirloom seeds. I reseed every year, heirloom. Now, I normally plant the seeds in the ground, but these were all voluntary. But look at that tomato. That tomato's bigger than any cherry, I'm just saying. Hello? So we can get a good shot of it. Hang on here. Hang on. Yeah, look. It's a Brandywine. Look at the bottom of it. See that knot? This one here looks pretty. It's still Brandywine. Brandywine's an heirloom. Now, I don't know if it's a yellow, red, or what. But there it is. And yeah, look at it. And look at that. Look over on the backside at the dill. Man, it's just gorgeous. Look at the tomatoes on this thing. Now, this one's unique, and I'm thinking this one's got crossbred. I believe this plant here, I believe, is a crossbreed. So it's what you would call a hybrid, okay? I kind of created my own hybrid, and if I'm not mistaken, it's created out of Arkansas Travelers and Romas. So the shape you see on its Roma, the vine is growing like an Arkansas Traveler. Anyway, here we are. I mean, they're loaded with tomatoes, boy. There's tomatoes all in there now. You know, and I'm shooting the juice to it, the water to it like crazy. It's got its first set of fertilizer just a few days ago, about a week ago. So it hadn't had any fertilizer. Straight out of the ground. Them tomatoes in there. Yeah. Let's walk back down this third tomato aisle. Now this aisle here, it's got like 3 or 4 natural, and then the rest of them have been transplants from, oh, you know, out of the ground like I did these other naturals. But look at this dill in here with this stuff. Dill's amazing. I don't know if anybody's ever grown dill. It's a beautiful plant to watch. The way its flower unfolds. It's a beautiful plant to watch. Yeah. All this dill came up voluntary, naturally from last year. And there's tomato plants in here, you know. Needs to be cleaned up. I hadn't cleaned this out. And look down here on the end. This is sunflower patch. These sunflowers that are going to grow up here. Let me show you the other ones. Okay, there's the other sunflower patch. Okay, right here where these white poles are, I've got, you see a little bitty plant in there. That's poblano peppers. But there again, all the peppers, you know, like I said, the temperatures at night just got to where these babies will lean to their growth spurts. And yeah, so, you know, it's just now getting hot, and it like went from cool to straight up hot. I mean, from you know, 100 degrees, supposed to be 110 degrees Fahrenheit here today. Now, the rest of these beans here are lima beans, and I bought them in South Carolina when I went there this year, a couple months back. And I decided I was going to grow them, and I've never grown lima beans before. On the package it says pole, and I don't have a clue. You know, look at this. Looks like a vine to me, but I don't know. You know, I really don't know how to grow a pole bean, so here we are, hello, trying this for the first time and seeing what we get. But I fertilized them about a week back, and I watered them good, and they've turned real good and green. They look great to me. They look like they're doing good. And they too, just kind of a little more susceptible to cold, but really just started going off and growing. All right, let's go out and look at the corn and watermelons. Voluntary watermelons. Okay, here we are with the corn. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows. Took me about a week to plant them by hand. Look how straight they are. You can tell I did it by hand. No doubt about it. Here's the first 2 rows, which we was able to water and get up. And you can see the corn in there. Yep. Yep, that corn's growing. So it's looking good, looking real good. Now while we're here, we got voluntary watermelons we can check out. These just started right here, and we left them from last year, you know. Look, he's got a rot. I got to get over here and get some fertilizer or something to him. He ain't looking good. See that? Yeah, I've left him. I ain't watered him or nothing. I mean, he's natural. And yeah, no water. Let me show you something. Let's go right over here and let me show you something. Let me show you how. Let me show you how how dry this ground is. Watch this. It's just powder, man. Look at that, powder. And it keeps going like that. Powder. Yeah, these poor plants. Let's see if we can find any more volunteer watermelons. Okay, we got a volunteer watermelon there. And of course that one showed you. And then we got one right here, and they're not very big, but the guys ain't had no, right there at the end of the pole, they haven't had any water at all. And coming right up here, I'm gonna let them go through the corn patch. And look at that, you see the black mold on that on that leaf where that's mold or blight that's killed that leaf. And I pinch them off, but I hadn't played with these guys. He looks good. He's growing, you know. And that corn in there. Oh yeah, that corn. Yep. Here's another volunteer watermelon right here. I don't know if it's got any on him. I ain't paid no attention to him, you hear me? Let's look. No, I don't see nothing. My rule of thumb is when I do watermelons, if I can't see them, I don't get in there and digging around playing with them. I wait till they get big enough I can see them. I'm blind. All right, there's Rooster Holler doing a natural garden walkthrough. Voluntary plants, most of them. All right now.